up, everybody? What is good? Welcome to the Damn Dude podcast.
Damn, dude.
Where we have the conversations that need to be had in a way that'll make you think and say, damn, dude.
Damn, dude.
Damn, dude.
And welcome to episode 97. I'm your host, California Cal, and we've been pushing right along here, man. We're almost at episode 100. Damn. Dude, that's crazy. This shit flies by. Like, I talk to people and they'll just be like, oh yeah, like you're gonna start a podcast? I'm like, nah, bro, I got like almost 100 episodes out. And they're like, what the fuck? Like, really? Like, bro, I've been going hard. I'm not here to deliver some fucking value. You know what I'm saying? So this episode is basically, I think we're gonna call this episode Red Flag, Green Flag. Because this is a show that is essentially about self-understanding. We're here to help educate, entertain, and just bring new perspective to life, new context to live into, and, you know, just help really have the conversations that are so uncomfortable for so many of us to have, to make that shit normal and regular and put some good shit in your ear. So, with that being said, we're also going to get into some different self-awareness tools and tactics and things we can actually use in real life to understand and grow who the fuck we are, like for reals. So, before we get into all that, I'm going to tell two little stories real quick. And if you guys are watching, you notice I'm not wearing the headphones right now. So if you notice my rhythm's a little bit off from what how I normally come off, it's because I'm not wearing the headphones today. And it's weird. I just wanted to see what it would be like if I didn't wear them. And honestly, it feels really weird. Like my whole rhythm is off. It feels weird. So that's kind of why I'm doing this, is to just kind of push myself a little bit, to help grow further understanding of myself and why I do the things I do. When I put the headphones on, there's something, I go into this world. So it's a trip. So I want to see if I could do that without them on. Anyways, enough of this boring shit. So the other day I was at the skate park, and like I said, because this is a show about self-awareness and self-understanding and business, you know, it's part of it. But I know who I am and I know what I stand for. So when I'm at the skate park, I see this kid throwing trash in the bowl, and I'm like, bro. I didn't say anything, but so I'm like skating around, and I pick up the trash, and in my head, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just throw it away, just do my good Samaritan deeds, and then whatever, you know, just do my part. But I was like, yo, that's not gonna actually do anything or stay long lasting or make a real difference that actually like changes something for the future. So I pick up all this trash in the bottom of the bowl, skate up to the top, I walk around, and I skate up to this kid, and I was like, hey, bro, here, you dropped your stuff. And then I just handed him the wad of trash. And he's like, huh? He's like, this is not mine. I was like, homie. And then before I say anything else, his friend says to him, he's like, bro, did you throw this shit in there? He's like, no, this isn't mine. And I was like, homie, don't lie to me. I was like, I saw you throw that shit right in there with my own eyes. Don't lie to me, homie. I was like, this is our skate park. And so I went up to this kid, and there's maybe a group of 12 to 18 kids there. They're all maybe between the ages of 11 and 15 maybe. And so I kind of rallied them all together, and I kind of had to make an example out of this one kid to prove a point where I was like, bro, like I didn't humiliate him. I was just like, I just checked him. And I told these kids, I was like, yo, this is our skate park. This is our place. This is our community. This is our home. This is where we have fun. This is where we play. We need to respect this place. And if you see any motherfucker throwing trash out here, you need to check them, because there's certain things that are okay to check people over. And when you fight for what's good, like this is something worth fighting for. This is worth putting energy into. You know what I'm saying? So the more that we can protect our area and enforce these rules, the nicer of a place we're going to have, and the more respect that'll exist here. And the kids are just like, yeah. They were eating it up, dude. I was like, oh shit. Because if they turned on me, that would have went bad, right? So it's like, it's a very risky thing when you just pick up somebody's trash, walk up, and just give it back to them. Like, it took some balls, honestly. Like, it was pretty scary, even though these are a bunch of kids. Like, physically, if they all tried to beat me up, I could probably beat them up. But like, that wasn't the goal or objective. That wasn't in my, like, this is what I'm out to do. I was like, yo, I want to make sure that this place is a better place from here forwards. So I told them, I was like, yo, look, you see all this trash around? We got to change this. We each need to pick up our trash and throw this shit away to do our part. One kid's like, yeah, you know, we were going to build like, you know, keep your skate park clean shirts and all this. And I was like, dude, good, exactly. I'm like, but the thing is, that doesn't do anything if we don't do anything about this and check the people who need to be checked in real life. And they're like, oh yeah, hell yeah, fuck yeah. So it was really cool to have them rally behind that and kind of put a whole new twist on like, oh yeah, like we're going to come here and be some scumbags. It's like, no, you're going to come here. You can do it, talk however the fuck you want because your parents aren't here. That's fine. You know, do your little shit, smoke your weed, do whatever you're going to do. I ain't no snitch, but I ain't no punk either. So like I said, I stand for what's right. You know what I'm saying? If a bunch of teenagers go smoke weed in the corner, like whatever, dude, that fucking happens. But the thing is if I see you throwing trash in my shit, I'm gonna fucking nah, dude. So we have to stand up for ourselves and we have to speak up. This also ties all into the whole mask thing. If you motherfuckers are wearing masks and somebody tries to, if somebody tries to enforce this mask bullshit on us, at this point, after we've been shown it doesn't work, they say, do it, don't do it, do it, don't do it. And you're just following along with what the fuck they tell you. You're being a part of the problem because you're scared to stand up for yourself and face any adversity. So I want to tell another story, which is my cousin Howie. Shout out to my homie. Well, he is my homie, but he's my cousin, my blood cousin, Howie Housel. House Cell. That's cool, by the way. But if you go back on, I believe it's episode 17, we got an interview with Howie. Howie is a boss. Make sure you go check him out. And so for the fact that Howie is a boss and he was on the bus is already like cool. So Howie's on the bus, he's cruising and some fucking creeper ass dude goes up to some older woman and is like harassing her, trying to grab her arm and like just being a fucking straight weirdo, right? So my cousin goes and fucking steps up, help this lady, helps her get off the bus, make sure she gets to where she needs to go safely. But within that, he faced adversity and confrontation with this potentially threatening dude. And it's like, you know, there's a lot more details to this, which I'm sure I'm skipping over. But essentially, the whole point was he didn't bust out his phone and just start recording. He didn't just, the world star, like he got up and did something about it, jumped into action. And that changes the trajectory of what that woman's day was going to be like and the safety and peace of mind of traveling the bus or stepping out into public. Like being an older woman and having somebody harass you like a man, like, dude, being a full grown man who knows how to fight, it's still like registers that like, oh shit, feeling inside of me where it's like some shit's about to go down. It's scary. And as somebody who's physically capable, it's still scary. So I can't even imagine not being physically capable and how scary that must feel. You know what I'm saying? Like I have my own versions of it where people have chased me or people try to jump me or some shit like that. And I get that sense of it, or having to fight multiple people at one time or some shit, right? So the thing is I feel for her, and you know, my cousin Howie, shout out Howie, love you, man. My cousin, he fucking stood up, helped this lady, make sure he got off the bus with her at her stop and the whole thing, and really made sure this woman was safe. So shout out to my cousin Howie. Make sure you guys go tune in his episode. If you guys ever, this is not paid whatsoever. If you guys ever get a speeding ticket in the state of California, holler at iticketfight.com. They will fight your ticket, and if they don't beat it for you, then you get your money back. So boom, you can't beat that deal. I'm not going to even mention the competition because I'm not going to say their names. But there's no competition because the way that he does it is the only place and the only company that does it the way he does it. So make sure you go check out Howie. Moving forwards, I'm kind of stuck on. Oh, also, so hold on. Before we move forwards, I want to say I'm proud of myself and I'm proud of my family for standing up for what the fuck is right. And we're good people, but we don't fuck around. We don't play that funky shit. Like, if you're going to fuck with me or any of my people or, you know, people of the public are my people, the less able, those are my people. The underdogs, those are really my people. And that's who I fight for and stand for. And the people who are scared to talk or don't know how to talk, like, I want to show you, yo, let's fucking do this. I used to not know how to talk. You know, or I stopped talking, so I think we can do this. So I wanted to go two different directions, but So I think what we're going to do is actually I'm going to start with the latter question first because I think it ties the beginning questions together more easily. And shout out to my question dealer, which has been giving me, I'm just going to say my plug, my source, has been giving me these topics and they are just so stupidly fucking good. So thank you. So I'm just going to kind of read it the way it was presented to me and then kind of just put my own twist on it. So we're going to start a little backwards with your notes here, which I hope you don't mind. So we're going to start with seeking self-awareness. How do you do that? How do you start? So if we don't know ourselves and we haven't gone inward, how can we know where to start or what to work on? If we didn't start or we don't start, how do we start? Damn, dude. That's a great question. So let's think about this. Because this is a show about self-understanding, let's talk to ourselves and understand some shit, right? And the reason I'm doing this backward, I mean, you guys don't even know it's backwards, but I'm just telling you, if you were to read my notes, is because this picture, if I paint this picture, it'll make the next part about green flags and red flags make a whole lot more sense. So, how do we know where to start? And then and then the second part of that question is, once we have an awareness of self and who we are, how to protect that new energy and space. So that's a fucking great question, by the way, and great insight. So if we don't know ourselves and we haven't gone inward, how can we know where to start or what to work on? And if we don't know how, where do we start? So I think the first thing to start with this, when it comes to figuring out who you are, is first start understanding preferences. Because this is coming, I have always been a very indecisive person. If I'm not 100% target laser lock focus on it, then I'm just like, whatever, right? So when we understand our preferences, that's a good base to know where we stand and where we start, because we can then begin to answer things with certainty. You know what I'm saying? So if we have, because I'm looking back at my own process and all these questions are so deep to me that I'm like, fuck, I really need to paint this picture really well. So in my process and things I've observed, how people started the path to go inward and know who they are is, for one, start with preferences. What do you like? What don't you like? What do you know? What don't you know? You know, and I think if we start with those questions, that is a great way to start. So, for example, I've actually done this in real life at many different points in my life where I just wrote a list. And sometimes it's a little bit different, but it depends what I'm applying it to. So oftentimes I'll write down the good, the bad, the positive, the negative, the pros, the cons. I like pros and cons the best because I don't necessarily believe in good or bad. I believe everything just is. I think that there's things with some evil and ill intention behind it, but I don't think it's bad. I think it's just evil and ill intentioned. And I don't think that that's bad that it's that way, because that's the nature of evil and ill intentions. So anyway, this whole thing is like, all right, I prefer, or, you know, it's like, I prefer, I don't prefer. And however it resonates with you, write it. You know, the good, the bad, the positive, the negative, the preferences, the non-preferences. I've done this in relationships. I found that if in a relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, like husband, wife, whatever your scenario is, husband, whatever, right? I've gotten lots and lots and lots and lots of clarity around these lists with relationships. So positive of the relationship, negative of the relationship. And this is the very basic. So and you write that down and then you look at it. But the thing is, you have to be honest. And if it takes some time to think about it, or if you're thinking about it too hard and you don't know, just skip it. The goal is to go with gut instincts, gut reaction, whatever comes out first. Your second thought is the lie. The first one is the truth. So if you're like, I'm unattracted, if that's what's true right now in this moment, then just write it. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be a forever true thing, but if it's true in this moment, like there's been times where I've felt unattracted to my partner or something, and it's like, fuck, I don't see my partner as unattractive, but there's moments where I'm like, ooh, that's really unattractive, and that's how I'm feeling right now. That's why I'm even writing this fucking list. So I wrote that down, and then after I write my whole list of like good and bad, positive, pros and cons, whatever, I look at it and I simply just look at the list. Which side is longer, the positive or the negative side? And that's going to give you your answer right there about your relationship. So if you want to take that deeper, if you guys are more serious than that, then it's like you have to, then the next step would be to do that. And then also take the time to write down goals and where you're going. And it's helpful for your partner to do this too, and to compare notes. That's the most powerful way. But if you're in a position where you can't do that, then just do it by yourself. But if you can compare notes, this is even better, because if you compare notes of what goals you guys want, you write your whole list. And if the first thing on that person's list is 4 kids, blah, 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 live on a farm, have 100 animals, and on your list is live in a loft downtown, no kids, maybe a cat or a fish, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, wow, okay, we're on 2 completely different planes. So we either got to meet in the middle or we got to like part ways, you know what I'm saying? So this also works for figuring out who you are. Well, who are you? Well, I mean, so as we can answer this question later, the beginning stages of this question would be things like, my favorite food is, my favorite band is, my favorite song is, my favorite music is. And when you go through that, you'll start realizing that there's multiple and there's many. So I think once you realize that, the importance of that question doesn't really matter anymore, because you're like, well, I have a bunch. So you don't really need to stress about it. And if the time comes where you need to specifically talk about it, cool. But when the time comes for you to specifically need to talk about it, it will be automatic, because you've already written down and calculated and factored this in to your brain and your life as who you are. So when we establish our likes and dislikes, preferences and non-preferences, we're able to have a clear picture of who we are right there. It may not be the ideal version of ourselves. It may not be, the goal we're working on, or we might think we're the shit and we've already fucking done anything. If that's your position, you got way bigger problems. You need to grow that like non-preferable side of your list. Like, because nobody's that fucking perfect. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I would say to start at the very, 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 very base level, is write down preferences and non-preferences, your likes, your dislikes, your pros, your cons, to whatever. It could be what you eat. Today I ate this, today I ate this, today I ate this. And if you look and all of a sudden your list has on one side, like for 7 days, you ate Oreos multiple times a day throughout those days. And then you look at the other side and you're like, oh, I ate like 1 slice of an apple. Shit. You know what I'm saying? So that list, it gives you the clarity on who you actually are. So if you can take the time to write down just things that you like, people you know. There was actually, damn, I forgot about this. There was times I was in different classes and like personal development classes. There was one where the assignment was to write down on this huge folder. It was like a big ass thing where there's like one of those big fold out manila like folders, So the exercise was to write out every friend group of people that you know and who the main characters are in it, the people that you regularly associate with. So this tripped me out, because it's like they say, who do you know? Oh, I know a whole bunch of people. Really? Who? Fuck, I don't know. I mean, like, shit, I know fucking this guy and that guy. No. Like, there's more to it. You know what I'm saying? So when you actually start writing down who you are, what you know, what you prefer, and who relates to you how and in what way, then we start having such a more clear picture. So what happened when I started writing out these friends groups, I started realizing, and the thing is oftentimes some of these people will exist in multiple circles of different groups, right? So within the groups, I have like my main group of best friends and family members who, you know what I'm saying, who were like, if shit really goes down, like we're gonna hit each other up type of thing. Like my best friends that go way back, like my family, you know what I'm saying, shit like that. Then you got the next circle, which is like friends who you hang out with on a regular basis. And it's interesting because a lot of times, especially as we get older, our best friends, we don't hang out with often. You know, it's different for everybody, but in my experience, and tend to see just kind of random people who we've met later in life more frequently and randomly, you know, currently anyway. So when I realized, like, dude, hold on a second, some of these people from this family group are also in this other group. And then the people in that group some of them are also in my business associate group. And then based off of that, then I have a whole group of like entrepreneur-minded friends. And then next to that, I have friends who I work out with. Then I have friends who I surf with. Then I have friends who I ride motorcycles with. Then I have friends who I skateboard with. Then I have friends who I meet and smoke weed with. Then I have friends who I do this or that, right? So it's like some of these people were in a bunch of different groups. Some were only in one. But what happened was it really contextualized, who do I know? Because that put in the perspective, who do I hang out with? Where do I spend my time? What is my energy doing and where is it going? So I think that once we have this self-awareness of who we are and what to do about protecting that energy and growing that new energy of who we are, that self-discovery of who we are, to grow on that and maintain that awareness, how to protect it, I don't think it needs protecting.
Damn, dude.
I really don't think... I think that once you start doing work to discover deeper and deeper and deeper levels of self-awareness, there's no protecting it. It's more so a matter of living into it. So it would kind of be the opposite of protecting it, and it would be more so an expression. You know, because once you know who you are, you can then be that expression. I prefer this. I prefer that. But you can make new choices in real time. So because you're clear on it, I don't like chocolate ice cream. I mean, I do, but let's just use that as an example, right? Now, if you know that and you go somewhere and somebody's like, bro, this is different chocolate. Like this is made with this and that. And you're like, I'm aware that I don't like all that type of chocolate, but what if I were to try it and it was good? Well, you know what? I'm open to that. So you see, it's like, that would be an example of using it and not protecting it, but rather projecting it. Because if we were to protect that identity of who we are, I would have to always automatically say, no, I don't like chocolate ice cream. But now, because I'm aware of who I am, I know I didn't like all the chocolate ice cream I've had in the past, I can now say, I want to try that or I don't want to try that. If I were to protect it, I just say, I don't want to try it. I'm protected. I'm being guarded. So this is kind of like a dangerous thing. I think a lot of people go on a path of self-discovery and then internalize it and protect it rather than project and share. Now, this goes the opposite too, because when you have people get a sense of awareness and self-awareness, and they're going to project it everywhere without doing all the work all the way through. And those people come off really annoying, or they'll be inspiring for periods of time and stuff like that. That was definitely me. Like back when I started my journey of self-discovery and going inwards, discovering my preferences and all of that, I realized that, holy shit, I just started protecting all of it instead of sharing it. So once I started sharing it, that kind of kept reinforcing the sureness of myself, because I know where I'm going. You know what I mean? So when we take the time to discover who we are, then that helps us point to what direction we're going. Then we can prepare to take off and launch and go on our journey and trip from there. It's like going camping. Like, let's say you bought a bunch of let's say you just discovered a new spot out in the mountains and you're like, oh, cool, I want to go and experience it because you've discovered that. I just discovered something new. It sounds amazing. And you load up all your shit and you never go because you're scared of an animal out there. And it's like, oh no, maybe we should just stay home and be safe. That would be protecting that new discovered energy that's not experiencing it. So just because you know when you tell other people about it, that doesn't mean you actually leveled up in life. That just means you acquired new stuff to think about and reinforced not doing anything about it. So I think this is why it's so important when we physically write down our preferences, what we like, don't like, where we want to be, don't want to be, share it with our partners, share it with whoever, friends. I've done this with friends too and exes. These lists, you know, it really fucking works. So that's what I would recommend to start discovering how to go inward, is to start with what you like and don't like. And once you get clear on that, like, that's going to take a long time to think about that shit. You know what I'm saying? Then once you got that, go back and listen to all these podcast episodes from episode 1, because then you'll start getting it all.
Damn, dude.
So we're going to take a quick break. And after these messages, we'll be Rob Bicycle.
Damn, dude.
What's good, everybody? Welcome back. Damn Dude Podcast, episode 97. I'm your host, California Cal. And we're going in this motherfucker. So we're talking about seeking self-awareness, how to actually do it, what practical steps to actually take to make this real, right? So like I was saying, I don't believe that we need to ever protect our energy. I think that's the wrong context to look at it. Well, not wrong, but like not as helpful, I should say. I think we need to work on moving from protecting to projecting. Because when we are aware of what we project and how we project, that is essentially saying, I know what I prefer and don't prefer, and I'm putting it out there. Now, does this fit this mold? Does that fit this mold? Yes, no, yes, no. I accept, I don't accept, I accept, I don't accept, I don't accept, I don't accept, I accept, I accept, I accept, I don't accept, I accept, I don't accept, I accept, I don't accept. So I think that would be how we project that new awareness and energy that we have, rather than just kind of keeping it secret or having us go into our ego about it. Because a lot of times we either protect or just blah and just boast, you know? But the thing is, it's right in the, it's a little bit of both. It's kind of here and there at different times. But the thing is when you write it down, it shows you for reals how you feel. And you can look at it and you can count and you can say, or you write down different things like things I'm happy about in life, things I want to change in life. Start there. That's a great list to go down, because what's going to happen is you're going to realize, for one, how blessed you already are and how much of the shit you've prayed and begged and fucking dreamt of you already have. Secondly, you'll also see, holy shit, I've done nothing. I don't have anything that I thought I would have. I haven't been doing the work. You'll see how lazy you are. You'll see how hard you work. You'll see how misguided you've been. Like, when you write these lists, it exposes all of that. So this leads us to the next thing, and this is kind of why I did these notes a little backwards, which is we're going to talk about green flags and red flags in relationships. We often just talk about red flags in relationships. But the thing is there are green flags, but how do we look for them and how do we know, you know? So also in this, I'm going to read the other two like points of topic / questions, which tie exactly into it, and we're going to kind of just go through it, is how to make ourselves susceptible to attracting relationships that will keep us in a positive and healthy place in life. Also, how can we maintain our healthy relationships while also not ignoring our triggers, weak spots, and red flags we're working on? How do we navigate it without bleeding into those positive people in our life?
Damn, dude.
That's some really insightful shit. So, let's start off with the green flags in relationships. I would say there's only a couple green flags in relationships. And I don't mean to say that to come off like hopeless sounding or like there's no hope, you know, like that's not what I mean. What I mean is that when we let me think about this. So I say there's only a handful of green flags in relationships, and I think it's actually even less than a handful. Reason I say this is because there's only a handful of things. So, for one, green flags in a relationship can only exist if you have already started and are doing the work on you. There's no such thing as a green flag if you're not already starting there. The closest thing to a green flag will be relatability, similarities, and similar tastes. That's like the tip of the flag. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not it. So like having things in common, it's often the people who contrast each other that make the biggest impact and difference in relationships. So number one, we have to identify who we are, what we prefer, because then from there, once we have that as our baseline, that's our baseline. This is what I like, what I don't like. This is who I know, who I don't know. This is what I prefer. This is what I don't prefer. Once you know that, then automatically when you see somebody else doing that also, boom, green flag. That is, I think, probably like the only green flag is like, is that person working on themselves in a way that's real, authentic, and all the way, and not doing it because somebody else coerced them, tricked them, whatever. Like they're actually on their own path, with or without a husband, wife, partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. Like, I think that when you recognize somebody else is on a path and you can accept that they're going to be going up and down, and you can accept them at their lowest and grossest and weirdest and brokest and most frustrated and all of that. Like, if you understand your own frustrations, which is a product of understanding your preferences, then you know what frustrates you, and you know that, okay, this person is a green, they're a green flag because they are doing the work to work on themselves, and I see that they are obtaining things in life that I want also. They are growing their preferred list actively rather than growing their I don't prefer list actively. So I think it kind of just comes down to identifying who is on the mission, who's breathing their own air first, who's putting on the oxygen mask first, which is really funny to say now with the whole world wearing masks and all this, because it's the opposite of breathing oxygen. But on a plane, they say put on your own breathing mask first so you can help others. So the thing is, look for somebody else with an oxygen mask on. If that person is breathing their own air, if you see another person breathing their own air and doing the work and being honest about it, and that's a good thing. I think this kind of ties into it too. Another green flag, I guess it goes different too, depending man to woman, woman to man, the type of relationship you have, if you're gay, straight, this, that, whatever. But just in general, I think a good green flag is somebody knows how, emotional intelligence. Somebody knows how to work through their feelings, feel them, heal it, grow. And whatever situation they just went through, they checked it in their pros, not cons list. Like, are the people that you're creating, is the person that you're creating for yourself, and is the people that you're creating for that you want, are they creating stuff that you want? Are they creating stuff that the world would prefer and likes? You have to keep in mind, like, our friends and our people and all of our relationships, all these people are representatives of who we are. Because if we disappear, everybody else who knows us speaks on us. So that's kind of why I started this podcast too. It's like, I respect and love all my friends and family and whoever I know opinion about me. But at the same time, I want to speak for my damn self. I don't mind you guys I highly encourage everybody, when I die, every motherfucker better go tell some fucking stories and share everything open and honest. No holding back, no playing this funeral game. No, be fucking real. So that's why I know only I can speak what the fuck is inside of me and who I am today when I woke up through my own gratitude and thoughts. So when we are able to do that, if you look at yourself and you see, hey, I'm a green flag, you now know how to identify other green flags. Because the thing is most people who, I mean, we all have our red flags, but people who are like huge red flags, a lot of times people will look past it because of looks or status or a lack of control of their own testosterone or hormones or shit like that. So when we do the work to be a green flag ourselves, it's easier to see the red flags that pop up because you've already identified it within yourself. Excuse me. So when we can identify the red flags in ourselves, again, understanding. So how do you identify the red flags in yourself? Well, like I just explained, write these lists. Start with a list. You know what I mean? So this is what's interesting about this whole episode is it comes back to the same thing, which is it all comes back to self and who the fuck we are and the relationship that we have with ourselves, because we can only view and interpret and relate, and other people can, only as deep as they can think and view and relate to themselves at any given moment. So,
Damn, dude.
that was pretty good. So how to make ourselves susceptible to attracting relationships that will keep us in a positive and healthy place in life would be to stay being one of these people who, where your pros and cons list, every problem that occurs, you live in a context where you shift it to the pros list. So let me give a real life example. For me, my best friend's getting murdered is on my pro list. That used to be on my con list. I didn't prefer that. I mean, maybe I don't prefer that now, but I don't have a choice other than to make it my preference that what happened happened. I don't prefer that my friends are dead, but they are, so I might as well prefer that appreciation of their life. You know what I'm saying? So that's why that does not go on my I do not prefer list, because it happened already. What am I going to do? If it's on my do not prefer list, that means I'm not actively doing the work to heal it, or I'm still in the process of it. But if you are in the process of it, it's going to be in your pro list already, right? So how do we keep ourselves in an open state and place to attract and keep growing this new positivity and self-discovery that we have inside of us would be knowing where we stand and knowing where we're going and knowing what we like. I hate to be repetitive because that is the answer. But the thing is, most of us look for answers outside of ourselves or within other people or different things or different status or social events or shit like that. So I think when we are honest with ourselves about our preferences, then automatically those other people will see the green flag that we are, and automatically you're moving forward. So then the next step, I guess, would be to analyze the types of relationships that you're having with the people that you know. But the thing is, if you don't clearly know who you know, then you can't really do this. So that's why writing down every group of people that you know. Now, let's say you don't have to write everybody's, because I had on mine, it's like, Facebook for like people. Now, granted, like a lot of the people from my Facebook or social media accounts are people from high school, and they're not people that I like fully interact with. It's just like a like here or there, comment here or there. It's nothing like this person's in my life all the time, you know? So those people, I would just say, Facebook friends. And then I would write maybe the handful of people who make like a difference or really make an impact on my life through there, right? So I understand who I know and what circles I have. And then from there, I started making tweaks and adjustments and putting my time here and there and here and there, less here, more here, less there, and so on. And it wasn't always right, you know what I'm saying? So I should have spent more time doing this, and there was times I should have spent more time doing that, or less time doing this and less time doing that. But the thing is I was on the path to getting better. And if I'm on that path to getting better, then anybody else will recognize that, even if I'm at a low point while on that path. See, when you speak to somebody, when we speak to somebody, we can tell if they're full of shit or not. A lot of times we just accept people's bullshit story and excuse, and just kind of for the sake of saving face or avoiding confrontation, we just don't say anything. But the thing is like, dude, it's like they say, it's like game recognized game. Like, you can tell when somebody's really about the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of us confuse knowing somebody for a long time with it being a healthy and positive relationship. For me, this is the hardest thing I struggle with, because I know a lot of people from, like, I still am in contact with people from that I've known since I was like a baby practically. And it's interesting, but it's like, the thing is, yeah, we may not all hang out all the time, but we kind of understand that it's like, oh, this is what you're up to, this is what I'm up to, this is what you're up to, and that's cool. You know what I mean? That's great. But the thing is, it's like, I have to understand that when we kick it, we're gonna do certain activities, and we're also not gonna do certain activities. Like, my friends from way back, they don't want to go to a business meeting or talk about business or personal development or shit like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's not what they're into. So for me, I understand, and I know that that's not what a lot of my like friends from way back are into. You know what I mean? It's like, a lot of them are into sports or this or that, or like whatever's going on in on TV or movies or games or this or that or whatever, right? That's absolutely fine. Everybody can do whatever the fuck they want. But the thing is, I know that because I know who I am and where I'm going, I know that that doesn't always align with the direction I'm trying to go. That doesn't mean that I have to not like my friends or fucking not ever hang out with them. That just means that that I understand my place and I understand their place and I understand the direction that we're going, in the sense that, all right, we all love each other, we all have each other's backs, but hanging out on a daily basis probably isn't what's best for us all. And that's perfectly fucking fine. That's a great thing. And when you can establish that, then power comes up, you know what I'm saying, and cultivates, because we know where we are going. It always starts with self. So once you know where you're going, you can recognize when somebody else is on a path of going somewhere, you know? Now, I'm a big believer, and I try and practice this as much as I can, in putting yourself in rooms and conversations where you are definitely not the smartest or most experienced. There is something that's so beyond powerful when you sit in a room. Now, let me say this. There's something so beyond powerful when you earn your seat at the table.
Damn, dude.
Like, real shit. Like, there's been a couple times where I was sitting at tables where I'm like, I cannot believe I am at this table with these people. This is insane. Like, and everything they're talking about doesn't comprehend. I just know that they're talking about shit that's bigger than me and shit that has to do with them fulfilling their vision because they know who they are. And I'm like, whoa, you are a smart person up to something. I need that to rub off on me. You know what I'm saying? So, like, attracting the people who are on a positive path that maintain our thing, that help maintain and grow our positivity and growth and healthiness in life. How to attract it is to be it. That's the only way to be it. You know what I mean? Anything that we want to attract, we have to be it ourselves. If you want a fucking badass man or woman or fucking house or whatever, you have to be that. Now, I don't mean, oh, go be a house, go be a woman if you want a woman. No. What I mean is, you have to be somebody who is equally as fucking attractive, hardworking, etc. The house, the work has to the work has to meet what the house costs. You know what I'm saying? The work on self has to meet what that woman is worth, what that man is worth. Like, it has to equal, it has to equate. So the thing is, it's pretty easy to recognize a quality if we're real about it. Oh, wow. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, whoa, I recognize we're equals in the sense that we're all just each other's reflection. But when our reflection kind of matches up and mirrors and it moves in sync, whoa, we kind of have like this 3D reality going on. And now something new can be created. You know what I mean? So if we be that healthy person and we be the positivity and we be an example of self-love and energy and growth and healing and hard work and integrity and dedication, when we are that, the other people who practice that recognize that. You know what I mean? It's the same thing as like, this goes beyond like different personas into a deeper truth though. Like, let's boil this down to a more simple example. Like, if you're a skater, you immediately know when another you could tell by the way somebody pushes their skateboard whether they are good or not. You know what I mean? Like, as a skater, you know, it only takes like 10 seconds to figure it out. If you're a surfer and you're out there surfing, it only takes like 2 seconds to figure out if somebody knows what they're doing or they don't know what they're doing. If you're a fighter, you see it in a moment. If you're a parent, you can tell when somebody's not. Or experienced or good or whatever. You know, if you're a truck driver, you can tell when another motherfucker doesn't know how to drive. If you're a fucking martial artist, if you're an artist, if you're whatever, like, you can tell when somebody else doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. And you can also tell when somebody does know what the fuck they're doing, or you see that fire in them, you see that glow, and you're like, he's got it. That, you know what I mean? It's that instant recognition. I recognize real, game recognize game. Like, what's that? It's so annoying to me, but it's cool, and it's annoying to me that it is cool. How they say, real eyes realize real lies. Like, that's cool, but it's so corny to me at this point. Just all the people have used it and been some fake motherfuckers. That's why I don't fuck with that phrase. It's like saying real talk. Like, that's the quickest way to identify somebody who's lying. Real talk. Now, there's certain instances, but like in general, especially when it got hyped, real talk. Like, that means, yeah, I'm lying about this. So that's how I see it, is when somebody else is up to it, they're with the shit, you're going to recognize that because you've been doing that. So even if somebody is at their lowest we all go through peaks and valleys in life. And if you see somebody way deep down in their valley, you still see the power in them because you're like, whoa, they're down at the fucking bottom and still doing the work. Wow. They're still on that path. They're still going. They're climbing back up and not complaining. They're going the extra inch, the extra mile, the extra yard, whatever, right? So that is completely recognizable to those who are doing it. You know what I'm saying? It's like you could just tell. You can tell who didn't study for the math test. You can tell who didn't prepare for their speech. You can tell who just didn't give a fuck. Like, it's all evident once you are doing it. You know what I'm saying? So the more that you do it, unfortunately, the more that people get annoying because you see their bullshit way faster. So that's kind of a thing that's really annoying about going on this path of self-awareness and attracting like people, is that you'll come to realize there's far more not like people, meaning they're not on their path, they're not on their journey, they're not really like out to try, or that's not what they're up to. And that's fine, because we're all on our own path in this life. You know, this is where it's important not to judge, but we have to understand that there's a lot of people who are just too scared to ever look at this, do the work, think about this, even listen to this podcast or have conversations like this, because it's too much. It's too deep. Their dads raised them to not talk about it. Their moms raised them to not talk about it. Or there's just never had a mom or dad to either do or not talk about it, or influence or whatever. And like, I personally know a lot of people who've gone through the system as far as like foster care and jail and juvenile hall and like all of these things. And it's like, that's the same reason that like I've never been to jail, but I can tell immediately when somebody's been to jail because I've had enough friends who've been to jail to where I know the swag, I know the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, like nobody's gonna touch your food, bro. Like just relax, put your shoulders down, eat. There's a walk, there's a look, there's a certain sort of like, you can tell somebody's been to jail by the type of aerobic exercises and workouts they do. You can tell the way that they make their bed, the way they take care of their shoes, the way that they kind of square things away, the way that they know when to go quiet, the way that they know when to get loud, the way that they know when to kind of like posture up. Like, you know, these things, they're all very evident and obvious and real if you know, but you have to be in the know. So the only way we're going to identify these other green flags is by being the biggest, brightest green flag you can be, because that's the shit that's going to attract exactly that. Because one green flag will recognize another green flag, and a green flag will also recognize when a green flag is being red flag still, you know, or like when there's a tint of red on it. So it's kind of trippy. So I feel like I took a long explanation to say that, but I really want to drive that point home. It's like you can only recognize what you are or have been before. Otherwise, we just judge it because we cannot understand it. Woo!
Damn, dude.
So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to be ride, bicycle, mycicle, tricycle.
Damn, dude.
What is Gucci Fed Alucci, everybody? I'm your host, California Cal.
California Cal.
Welcome back to the Damn Dude Podcast.
Damn, dude.
Again, it's episode 97. We're about to hit 100. What do you guys think? When we hit 100, 100, should we switch to season 2? Or should we just keep fucking going and keep them in season 1? I almost want to do like 500 or 1,000 episodes in the name of season 1. And then at 2,000 episodes, switch to season 2. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm not sure what's cooler. I don't have a good gauge for that sort of stuff because I don't watch TV or movies or anything. So like, well, in general, I should say I haven't seen anything in like lots of months, maybe a year. I haven't seen shit. So anyway, we're going to get into this last topic, which again ties this whole thing together. And I know it's always sad when the show starts coming to an end because, oh man, I don't know. Anyway, so how can we maintain our healthy relationships while also not ignoring our triggers, weak spots, red flags, and red flags we're working on? Oh, I'm getting so many text messages. Relax, please. Okay. How to navigate it. So, sorry. Jeez. If we did edits, I would completely edit this whole thing. Or not the whole thing, but this last coming back from break. But we don't do that. We keep it real. Mistakes stay. So, let's start over. My text messages totally threw me off. How can we maintain our healthy relationships while also not ignoring our triggers, weak spots, red flags we're working on? And how do we navigate all of that without it bleeding into those positive people in our life? Well, interesting, because this kind of goes back to the last question. When we know we are on the path of working on ourselves and moving forward and continuously changing all of our cons to pros and switching the side of the list that's on, others are able to see, like how I described in the last instance, when we are in a valley between our peaks and valleys. So the thing is because one real motherfucker recognizes another real motherfucker, that's what it is. That vision, that it's like we can tell. Those doing it know. Those who've been on it for a long time really know. Those who have committed their lives to it really, really, really know. This is why when you meet people who can kind of just tell you everything about yourself, yeah, that goes into spirituality and stuff like that too, but without that, just being able to read somebody, it's because that person is so sure of themselves that they can see exactly what you're sure and unsure of about yourself, or they can just see that you're unsure of yourself. So the more that we work on ourselves to understand who we are and our emotions and our feelings and why we think the way that we think, it translates and it spreads, and then it's like the judgment starts melting and understanding starts getting put into place instead. So if we take responsibility for how we speak, how we communicate, what we think, how we think, these are all trainable. Our subconscious is completely trainable. If you call yourself stupid continuously, that you're going to keep, that's reinforcing that. Imagine if your dog shit on the floor or on the carpet of your house every time and you went, good job. That's what you're doing to yourself. Every time you say something negative, every time you call yourself stupid or dumb or an idiot or this or that, that's the same thing as training your dog to be like, good job shitting on the carpet next to my bed. You know what I'm saying?
Damn, dude.
That's the same thing. So when we are aware of ourselves, our preferences, that will kind of start hopefully naturally start leading to more awareness of the words that we choose to use and say and how we express them. You know what I mean? Because if you are on a path of bettering yourself and your words and actions don't match that, then just understand you're not far enough on the journey yet, which is fine, but it's going to require going deeper into the woods, so to say, to really fucking get lost and figure out who you are, where you're at, and where the fuck you stand. Because a lot of times, if you essentially, so to say, push someone into the woods, they immediately go, I'm lost. For me, I go, oh, I'm standing in my shoes and I'm standing on a pile of leaves. All right. There's a big difference in having that understanding. I know who I am and I know where I'm at and I know that I'm lost. I know where I'm at, lost. I know that I'm standing in my shoes and I know I'm standing on a pile of leaves. I'm standing on some grass. I'm standing on a log. I'm standing in some dirt. You know what I'm saying? I know who I am, so I know where I'm at. Therefore, it's clear to me, I know that I am lost out here. All right. Now what? Let's find a hole in the canopy to find where the sun is. All right, let's set a stick up or let's watch the shadows and let's wait 30 minutes and see which direction the shadow casts over the stick. That'll tell us the direction. That'll also tell us the time. If you could do two of them, and then if you notch it off, that's how a sundial is used. So we would do that. We would start there because I know who I am and I know what I'm up to. I am up to figuring out how the fuck to get out of here safely. I'm not out here to be like, I'm lost. Oh my God. Like, yes, I am lost and oh my God. But the thing is, that's fine. If you know where your ass is at, then you know where you're at. You know what I'm saying? Most people, we're just so unaware of ourselves that we don't even know. You know what I mean? I'm lost. No. You just haven't looked around. I'm lost. No, you're just going too fast. I'm lost. No, just slow down. Stop. Look around. How are you lost? What do you see? If you can mention what you see, you're not lost, right? So, anyways, when we can see our own, when we set off on a path of self-awareness, we know when we're being our red flags and when we're being our green flags. And a sense of understanding starts happening to where this ties back to the being in a room full of people smarter than you is you ask the people with more experience, hey, I notice these are my red flags. Or there's something that's going on, I can't figure it out. Can you tell me like straight up and honestly and openly? Can you give me your insight? And a lot of times when that person's sharing, especially because you asked for it, it makes them be like, oh, all right, well, let me really think about this. And then you now have a deeper relationship. So number one, checking in with yourself continuously is going to be the most important. Now, there's different ways to do that. Meditation, writing these lists, reading books. I highly recommend the book Fear Vana to every fucking human on this planet. If you are somebody who overthinks or underthinks or is just too scared to do anything, or you just are so brave or whatever, read that book. It's by Akshay Nanavati. That book I will always vouch for. It's mind-blowing. So what's important is that's what it means to do the work, to learn our preferences and non-preferences. This is the starting point. And then this is how we discover who we are and what we want and what we're up to in life and our purpose. These are the steps it takes to discover your purpose. I think the next step after really figuring out and asking yourself who you are, what you're up to, what you prefer, then it starts shifting your focus on, all right, well, what problems are there in the world that I would like to solve? You know, you find a problem that just keeps fucking going and you solve that. If you make it your goal to just be a problem solver, you're never going to lose because everything's going to be in alignment with that. And once you figured out your purpose, your sense of direction, which comes from taking the time to figure out and know and learn who you are and who you aren't, that's what's going to come next, is you're able to use all that. If you protect all that energy, you're doing a disservice to the world because you've taken the time to the world. Is that what I just said? Excuse me. You know, you're doing a disservice to the world because you took the time to focus in and hone in on who you are and who you aren't, what you're capable of, what's possible, and then you went and just kept it a secret. That's what a lot of people do. A lot of times people will start going off on this path of self-discovery, and then they hit a certain point and they get scared. It's too much. I can't see this. I'm not ready to see parts of myself, whatever. I mean, fine, but just know you're not going to grow or learn anything that way. And that the longer that you do that, the bigger that feeling is going to grow. You're just going to keep growing it. You're training yourself. Good job shitting on the floor. You know what I'm saying? It's that again. So I think also know when you're shitting on the floor and know when you're reinforcing that. Oh, good job. You know what I mean? Even in jest, even jokes, whatever. I had to train my jokes because a lot of times I'd be like, oh, I was being a fucking idiot. And I still do it sometimes, but I catch myself and I'll be like, oh, I made a mistake. There's a big difference when you relate to your inner thoughts as, oh, I made a mistake versus, oh, I'm a fucking idiot. Even if you're joking, you're only joking because you don't want to accept the reality of that at this moment, but you know that there's some truth to it. You know what I'm saying? And that would be being a red flag. So I think, again, all back down to knowing where you're going, knowing who you are, knowing what you prefer, and then the next step is knowing what you want. Like that's where I'm at in my process right now. Is I'm at a point again where I'm creating what I want, and I'm almost knowing of what I want. It's just not all the way clear yet. So that's where I'm at. Is there, and I've definitely gone through all these stages and phases of learning who I am and being comfortable with that. And I'll keep recreating that because I'm not all the way comfortable with myself. And I'm not all the way comfortable speaking how I feel and this and that. Whether you guys judge it as I am or not, it's not easy. It's hard every single time. But the thing is, I know that me staying silent is me being a red flag in my own way because I know how to stay silent. It's too easy for me. I spent way too many years staying silent and not speaking up. So that's why I'm like, hold on. It's like I start growing awareness of my triggers and then I kind of start leaning into them. And I'm like, all right, this triggers me. Why? How come? Where did it come from? What was the first time that I ever felt this?
Damn, dude.
That's another good one to start your path is if there's things that stand out to you in life that you know really made an impact on you or whatever, right? It's like you can really stop and ask yourself, like, damn, how has this impacted me? What does this feel like? Like, what did this do to me? What am I going to do about this? You know, and it's like we start discovering and asking questions and you say, wow, I'm really triggered when this happens. Well, rather than running from it, you got to run to it. You got to run into it. Because if you try and like shoot a gun and drop it, that's dangerous. You're way safer shooting a gun and holding on to it firmly and confidently and willingly and knowingly. You know what I mean? So when we get triggered, we got to hold on. You know what I mean? We can't just give in to it or whatever. So I think it's wise to practice discussing our triggers, feeling out our triggers, thinking about them, and seeing what little things trigger them. A lot of times it's just like the way that somebody words words, or the tone that somebody uses, or the way that somebody, their body is, or their whatever, right? There's always these little things, which is weird. So when we have enough sense of who we are, what we like, where we're going, what we're up to, what our purpose is, essentially who the fuck we are, then it doesn't really matter about bleeding our triggers into our positive relationships. You know, it's like you can, once you're doing this enough, you can tell who's doing that and who's not doing that. And sometimes you're going to have to learn the hard way and accidentally have that happen. There's been times where I've fucking like brought some super bitch ass shit to my homies who are like really up to big things. And they're like, bro, nah, what the fuck is up with you? And that's the type, you know, it's like that communicated to me. Like, so I think a good measure also of if you're bleeding negativity into other people would be if there's somebody you know you can talk to and they set you straight, if you want to avoid them and not talk to them, then just know you're full of shit. For me, it's my homie Sebastian. You know, we had Sebastian back on episode 93, 94, 92. Oh, it was in my old book. But Sebastian's one of those people who he doesn't let me get away with anything. Oh man, like I don't have enough money to take a trip. Why? Well, what are you gonna do about it? How can you make enough? That's the shit he asked me, and I'm like, god damn it. So because I know that when I talk to him, he doesn't let me get away with being a little bitch. He calls me out. So in a loving way, not a demeaning way, but a helpful way. So I think it's wise to, and that has to do with finding people who are smarter and or more experienced than you, because they can facilitate that space for you. So whether you're being a little bitch or your red flags are all up or whatever, when we have people who with more experience, they know what it was like to do that, and they will step up and help us out with it and call us out, assuming we're open to it. You know what I mean? But you've got to do enough work to be open to take criticism from these people who have more experience than you, or who know more than you, or whatever the case may be. So, you know, it's really interesting. I look at it with my homie Sebastian. It's like Sebastian's younger than me, but he also has, I don't know if more, but like different life experience than me. And even though he's younger, I look at him like, holy fuck, bro, like you're definitely smarter than me. And like you understand people and context and self-awareness like on a whole different level than I do. Now, at the same time, I have a lot to offer and bring to the table as well, where I teach him, which that is hard for me to accept because of how much I respect him and see what he does. But like, I have to know that I have done the work too. So you kind of see what I'm piecing together, where it's like when you have done the work and you do the work, those people will just kind of start showing up, and they're always kind of just there. And it's like, you always feel good after talking to them. It was always a positive experience. So there's always growth in the conversation. It, you know, whether it was funny or this or that, that's cool. But it's like the real shit comes from going into deep shit, being honest about shit, being real about shit, feeling how we feel, discussing it, knowing it, understanding the pros and the cons. I feel like I'm very repetitive in this episode, but I feel like I need to be, because these are the tools that we use and we can use, and I've used and I've seen other people use to identify building and growing good relationships amongst people. And it has to be with, and it has to do with integrity, how much you stand for yourself, how much you believe in yourself, how much your word matters. You know, it's like if you're full of shit, then you're going to just keep attracting people that are full of shit. And that's the hardest part on this journey, is when you really start taking on self-awareness and self-growth, people have to challenge you. and people are going to challenge you, and everyone's going to challenge you. And the people who you swore would see the growth in you and have the most support are the people to be like, well, why didn't you blah, blah, blah? And you're like, did you not just see I spent the last fucking 2 years doing blah, 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 blah? And you're just going to be like, well, how come you didn't blank? Like, fuck you. Nah, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of fuck you, but it's kind of not. That person is only saying that because that was how you used to be receptive to communication. You used to communicate like that. So now it's offensive when somebody communicates to you the way that you used to speak to people.
I know Damn, Mesa. I know Mir. Damn, dude.
Damn, dude.
That's deep, right? Like, fuck. So when people speak to us at our old level we outgrew, it's frustrating. And that's where a lot of people on this journey go into protection mode and protect their energy. And then they regress way farther back rather than putting it out there and growing it and be like, hey, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is the type of person I am. This is what I'm up to. Like it or not, accept it or not. And it makes it so much easier for people to be like, oh, I fuck with this guy or I don't fuck with this person, you know? And I've experienced that in the last couple months where if you follow my personal Instagram at The Real California Cow, you'll see I've been going off. I keep saying, oh, I'm talking my shit, which, because where I come from, that's how we said it. But I should say I'm spitting game. And I'm being brave and I'm being bold and I'm saying shit that people aren't saying on the internet. And I'm like, dude, I don't see anybody saying the shit that I want to hear. So I'm going to fucking say it. So taking that position and taking on that sort of stance really, really allows the space to not be bleeding into and infecting other people's positive energy, but to where your low points now become inspiring to other people. You see what I'm saying?
Damn, dude.
Like there's a shift to where if you're really with the shit and you're really up to working on yourself, your low points turn inspiring rather than relatable.
Damn, dude.
And I think that's a huge indicator of how we know that we are, that like we're headed the right direction and we're doing the shit we're supposed to do. So red light, green light, we're going to fucking run these green lights. You know what I'm saying? And like aim for the green lights. I want to be the green light. I don't want to be the red light. No stopping. Let's keep fucking going. Full speed ahead. You know what I'm saying? So essentially, to wrap this whole thing up, tie this whole thing together, know yourself, write down your preferences, learn them, know what you want in a relationship, know the reality of your relationship, know the reality of your relationships, know the reality of what you want, know the reality of what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. Learn the reality of what you're open to experimenting or trying or learning still. You're not a hard yes or no, you know? I think it's good to be a hard yes or no with the same time the understanding to and awareness to know, you know, even though I'm a no, I should try this because what if I like this? What if I like something else? Have I tried everything? You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, we got to do this work on ourselves, and this is how we learn to work on ourselves, and this is where we start. If you don't know where to start going inward and working on yourself, look up basic meditation on YouTube, look up a beginner's yoga class, and look up and go listen to David Meltzer, Brad Lee, Andy Frisella, Tony Robbins, Ed Milet. Go listen to some people like that. David Goggins. Like, these are all great places to start. You know, taking in outside perspectives and forming our own internal perspective. That's going to be the magic. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man. Fuck, I feel like I've been talking so fast, my voice feels gone. I didn't smoke weed this whole episode or from my workout this morning. And I'm on day 44 of 75 hard. Let me see. I'm on day 44 of 75 hard, so I'm getting it in, man. I'm down 26 pounds, 25, 26, 27 pounds. 29 pounds. I'm down 29 pounds, dude. No. Yeah, no, that's right. As of yesterday, I'm down 29 pounds in 81 days. So pretty cool stuff. Yeah, man. So it's been lovely. I look forward to episode 98, and I really am excited for episode 100 and whether we start a new season or not. So I love you guys. Stay safe out in the rain, especially if you're in San Diego, because you motherfuckers don't know how to drive. That's just a fact. Just because the road's wet, it doesn't mean that you should still drive like it's the Lucky Seafood parking lot. So slow the fuck down. Don't slam on the brakes. Just chill. Keep your eyes moving forward. Your tires still work. The traction still works. Just drive regular, dude. Like, chill. It's all good. Oh my goodness. So you guys, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Have a beautiful day. Peace.
90 miles push away, and I wanna be here for days. And we serve like 38. Now the sun touches your face, not the beach, not you. And the last one to be us too. And it's been it'll be me and you.
Damn, dude.
Damn, dude.